How we doing?
Great.
All right, good. Well, it's been a while. I think I was here in October, early November, something like that, and I'm glad to be back. Always glad to be here. Thank you. My talk is Love Heals, Love Prospers, Love Guides. So I didn't get this one from a book. Last November, shortly after I was here, my mom passed away. She was 93. And she had had dementia for several years and gotten to the point where she was pretty much nonverbal, but I was visiting her every week, and I had a sister who was also there, so we spent a lot of time with her. She knew we were there, so that was a good thing. I learned a lot about love through my mother. I grew up in a home where no one ever said the word love. No one ever said, "I love you." I never heard those words, except if I was watching a movie or a TV show and somebody said it. No one said it to me, and I never said it to anyone. Maybe some of you can relate to that. When I was about 12, I remember sitting in church. We went to church every Sunday. And I remember seeing my mom over a couple places from me, and she just looked incredibly beautiful to me. This was the same mom that nagged me all the time, that often embarrassed me in front of my friends, telling me to do things when my friends were over. This same mom, in that moment, I just felt nothing but love for her, and I saw her as completely beautiful. But I had no way to express it. I didn't know how do you say those things? I had never learned that. Fast forward, I'm about 19 or 20. It's Mother's Day, and I decide I'm going to give my mom a nice card. I think she might like that. So I wrote her a really nice card telling her how much I appreciated her and how much gratitude I had for her. I think she cried for 2 days. Maybe because she waited 20 years to hear that from me, you know? Another 10 years pass. I'm around 30, 31 years old, something like that. And I'm living, a good 100 miles, 120 miles away from my mom. My mom needed surgery. She needed a hysterectomy. And so I called her the night before because I was concerned for her and I wanted to let her know I was thinking of her. So we were talking, and as the conversation came to a close, I said the words, "I love you, Mom." The words I had never said before, the words she had never said before. I hung up the phone, and I cried. It just came out of me, I think because I was holding on to those words for 30 years, and they finally came out. After that, it was, you know how for a lot of people, you're adults, but you walk into your parents' home and you turn into a teenager again? And it's like the same dynamics are there. That ended after that because I took the initiative and I was willing to, in a sense, take my mom's role and be the one to initiate the expression of love. And the interesting thing is, every time I saw my mom or talked to my mom after that, she told me that she loved me. Somebody just had to open the door, and I guess it had to be me. And I noticed then she started telling, I have 3 younger sisters, she started telling them that too. She would say that very easily to them. So I think I helped her too. So my mom, my father passed away in the late 80s. My mom remarried. And some of you already heard the story, but I found out through a psychic reader that I had a brother. And I asked my mom about it, and she admitted that, yes, she had had a son before me, before she got married. She was just turned 17. And the funny thing is, she met my dad during the time she was pregnant, and 3 months after she had the baby was adopted out, my dad married her. So this was 1947. So it wasn't cool back then if you had a child and you were a teenager. You know, it's almost cool now, right? It's accepted. It was not back then. My mom had to go to a home for unwed mothers and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, she actually found her long-lost son after 50 years. And so that was a very healing thing for her. And he became part of our family, he and his wife. So that was cool. Though it was hard for me to let go of the idea that I'm the oldest, so. Anyway, so near the end, this is early November, my sister and I, my sister who had often had conflict with my mom, well, she had conflict. My mom, she had two sides, this very loving, caring side, and the other side was all drama. Who hurt her, who did what to her, and we heard the stories over and over and over again. You know somebody that does that? They tell you all their victim stories. That was my mom. And so she would get into it with my sisters. She would kind of take turns with them over the years. And this one sister, she was really hard on her and actually kind of mean to her when she was younger. And yet this sister of mine stepped up and did most of the, like, managing my mom's finances, being there for her, making sure that she was okay. So, and we all trusted her completely to do that. So we're sitting there in front of my mom. My mom is hard to know if she's conscious or not. She's just sitting there in her chair. And we started talking about forgiveness. And so I say to my sister, it's important to forgive. And my sister says, it's hard to forgive when the other person isn't sorry. And I didn't go, yeah, but. I said, it is hard. However, it's still important to do it because you do it for you. Not to let somebody off the hook, but you do it to let go of all the stuff that you're carrying around. And my sister still reiterated, it's hard to forgive if the other person isn't sorry. So we're talking, we didn't name any names, we didn't talk about any specific situations, we were just talking about that. All right, so a couple of weeks pass, and we were there weekly with my mom. She was like, I live in East Lansing, not East Grand Rapids. And my mom was in Rochester Hills, so it was about 90 miles away. I would go there once a week for a little over a year, and then before that it was quite often, not quite that much. But anyway, 2 weeks later, we spend a day with my mom. I leave, and my sister comes out to the parking lot, and my mom had not spoken in weeks. And my sister says, Mom spoke to me. I said, she did? What did she say? And my sister said, she said 2 words. And I said, what? She said, I'm sorry. And I said, wow, what a gift that was. That my mom could somehow pull it together and remember the conversation from 2 weeks before and be able to express that to my sister. So, love heals. When you can say, I'm sorry to somebody, it makes a difference. And if you're waiting for an I'm sorry, you might wait a long time, so you should probably quit waiting. And if you get it, consider it a gift. So about a week later, it was very close to the end, and I called my other siblings. One came in from Kansas, and we would go on Wednesdays. I'd be there, and so we were there. And then I made sure on that day that I was there, she talked to all of her children, either by phone or in person, because I knew it was going to be any moment. And then on Friday, 2 days later, 2 of my sisters spent the day with her. They went to dinner, and then during the dinner time, I got a phone call from hospice saying my mom had passed. Some people like to go when they're alone, not when there's people sitting around them. So that was my mom, I guess. So even though I expected it, it was a gut punch. And I'm sure you understand, you've been through it yourself, that somebody's going to pass, but then when they actually do, it's like, oh, it hits you. So we were on our way out to dinner, and I couldn't go out to dinner. I just had to go back home. And of course, I had to make phone calls. But something very unique happened. Grief is a funny thing. It can be really painful. But for me, I think because I had spent so much time in preparation and had all this time with my mom and knowing she was going to go, that all I felt was love. Not just for my mom, but for everyone and everything. I was in that place. I looked around at all the people in my life, everywhere I went, and all I saw was timeless beauty. There was no criticism in me. There was no assessment, no judgment. All was love. And I like that place. And I find that I can go there whenever I want. Sometimes it takes some effort, especially if I'm annoyed with somebody, but I can go there. So that's a good thing. In Unity writings, it defines love as universal unity. It's universal unity in expression. It's the power that joins and binds us in divine harmony, including the universe and everything in it. In the Gospel of John, it says, God is love. They're synonymous. For those of you who are familiar with the Course in Miracles, it says that if you can love without fear for an instant, you'll be healed. And for those of you who are familiar with A Course of Love, it says that love is acceptance of whatever is, and then to embrace it. It is to be in unity and relationship with God and with everyone else. My mom was very well organized in terms of her will. I'm the executor of her estate. Everything, I didn't have to do much except to, in a sense, lead the way. Nothing had to be figured out. All of her bank accounts had beneficiaries on them. Her will was very clear. To give you an idea of my mom, in her will it said, whoever contests this will is out of it. She'd had some experience with stepchildren and my mom's second husband, so she took care to make sure there wasn't going to be anything weird going on. But I don't think she had to worry, because she and I went to a bank and talked to an advisor a number of years ago, and we were putting beneficiaries on an account. My mom always was very fair and balanced with her children. We didn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And I was talking with the bank person, and I said, I don't think we need to worry about my family. Nobody's going to fight over money. And she says, well, then you're unique. I said, why? Do you have a lot of families that do that? And she said, yeah, 80% of them fight over who gets what. And I thought, wow. And it did not even compute in my mind that we would do that, because I didn't feel like there was any fear among us. My sister managed my mom's finances. Nobody checked on her or worried about. I was there assisting. I knew what was going on, but none of us distrusted her. I became the executor. Nobody distrusted me. Nobody even asked to see the will. And when people received money, and my mom did have some money, people were just completely grateful. And I think love does prosper. When you bring fear into the equation, then you have problems. And yeah, I have seen families that tore each other apart over inheritances and money. And for me, I decided that even if my mom gives me nothing, it's okay. It's her money, not mine. She doesn't owe me anything, right? Nobody owes me their money, including my mother. And so if she does give me anything, which she did, I'm completely grateful. That was my attitude. And I think that's where love comes in terms of the financial aspect, is to be open to receive, but not think that you're supposed to have or you're entitled from any particular direction. Because when you get into that, you get into fear and competition, and people start hurting each other. I've seen people spend tens of thousands of dollars on lawyers. And so when they're fighting over who gets the money, the lawyers are the only ones getting the money. Because they're charging by the hour. And they charge a lot per hour. I don't know if there was any attorneys in here, but and I don't think they shouldn't. That's fine. All right. So my mom passed away the Friday before Thanksgiving. So she picked a good time to do that, because we had people coming in, family members from other states. And so then it fell upon me to organize everything. And I had a couple of sisters that were very helpful in that, but I was the lead. So since everybody was coming to town, not only did we have to organize the memorial service and the cemetery afterwards and the dinner, but Thanksgiving was the day before. So I had to organize Thanksgiving dinner. And I only had a couple of days to do it. Have you ever tried to get a reservation for a group of 16 people at a restaurant a few days before Thanksgiving? Well, I tried. I made a bunch of phone calls, and I called. I was also organizing people coming to town and getting their rooms for them. It was over in Livonia at a Holiday Inn there, in a nice place. And they said they had a room, we could bring food in. I said, okay, great. But I better go check that room. So I went over there. The room was totally inadequate for what our needs would be. We would bring in food, but there was no place to put it. And it would not be comfortable. So I had already, ordered food, like, you can get Thanksgiving dinner from Meijer. I ordered a couple of those, and it was all set to go, and I go, we can't do this. So then I went to another hotel nearby. They had a room, like $300 for the room, and it was like, but they don't do anything for you. You just get the room. And I thought, oh, this doesn't really feel right. And I had it stuck that we had to have dinner at a certain time. But then I said, you know what? I'm working too hard here. I've made lots of phone calls. I'm driving around to different hotels and restaurants, and nothing's happening. So I just let go. So I'm just letting go. I'm just going to trust that this is going to work out, because I know my mom would love the idea that we're all coming together to have Thanksgiving, because I'll have family members that haven't seen each other in decades. So I'm driving in the car back to the hotel, and I get an idea, and I find that the hotel next to us, which was a Marriott, had a Thanksgiving dinner in the evening. I was stuck on having an afternoon dinner. But I thought, why does it have to be in the afternoon? Why not in the evening? So I checked, and I made a reservation, canceled Meijer. Everybody came. I didn't have to do anything. Everybody came. We had a wonderful dinner at the hotel restaurant there, a Thanksgiving dinner. You could even order non-Thanksgiving food if that's what you preferred. It wasn't super crowded. There were other people there. We had lots of space around us, and we had a wonderful time. But then I think of all the work I was doing, trying to do it my way, but then when I let go, when I trusted, it just came together. So that's the part where it says love guides. That if you just let go, things really go a lot better. All right then, so what can we conclude from all this stuff I'm telling you? Well, open yourself to love. Don't worry about rejection. When I first said, I love you to my mom, she could have just kept silent, not said anything. But I wasn't really thinking about that. I just wanted to give the love. Because actually, when I said it to my dad, he did keep silent. He never returned it. But it didn't really hurt, because I know that's just how he is, or how he was, I should say. So it didn't hurt me. We can't worry about, well, we can, but it's not useful to worry about whether someone will accept or reject your love. If they reject it, and when I say love, I'm not talking about that somebody has to engage with you. The love that you give is free. You love them as they are, maybe from a distance. It doesn't have to be up close. So, and love has to be given that way, that there's not any strings to it, that they have to give you something back. They have to love you back. That's not love. That's commerce. You just give the love, and if you want to say it, you just say, hey, I love you. And it's okay if they don't say anything. And then we open ourselves when we do that to receive. And people will tell us that they love us if we're open. We just don't know who it will be necessarily. It might not be the person that you thought would, but you receive it. And so the second part of love is accepting who you are, how you feel, what's going on in you, accepting, or there's a book, maybe some of you have read Byron Katie, Loving What Is. That's it. Whatever is, love it, which means you accept it and you embrace it. I find if I have what you would call a negative emotion, like depression or anger or hurt, that if I just accept it and let it flow through me, that it has an expiration date. It doesn't continue on it's when we resist it that it hangs in there and tortures us. It's when we add to it with drama from our mind that it stays with us. But if we just let yourself feel it and then accept and embrace it. Sometimes I wake up, I don't feel good. I just accept and embrace it. And then for me, I take a walk every morning. I walk like 2 or 3 miles every morning. I've been doing that for years. After I walk, I go over to the gym and I lift weights 6 days a week. So I'm pretty active in the morning. And if I wake up not feeling well, I just get into my routine, but I process it. I just accept what I feel. And I don't try to resist it or fight it because it is what it is. And then I also ask for, and that's the third part, is to trust. I ask for insight. God, Holy Spirit, higher self, help me to understand what this is about, why I'm feeling this way, what's going on, what am I holding on to? And then I get insight. And the other day, actually, I woke up, I think a couple of days ago, I woke up not feeling well. I accepted it, embraced it, I asked for insight, and I got insight into it as to what it was about. And I can't believe, well, I can believe, but it was, I just felt like something was lifted off of me, and I felt lighthearted, wholehearted, and I just felt great. It really can be simple. It's not simple when you insist on holding on to fear or grudges. You know, the ego gets a secret joy out of being the victim, because then it justifies whatever bad behavior that you do. Oh, I'm the victim, so I can say or do anything because, after all, I am a victim. But, you know, do you want to live that way? But when you let it go, when you accept love, and you let love guide you, the feeling is amazing. And I felt similar to how I felt after my mom passed, that I just loved everyone and everything. And I don't know if you felt that way. If you have, I hope you have. If you haven't, then move toward that, because it's a great feeling. Because there's no burdens to carry. There's no fear to torture you. There's nothing but love. And I think that reality with a capital R, that's what it is. It's just love. And you can do that because you are made in God's image. You are an expression of God. Therefore, you are love. You don't have to seek it. You don't have to try and get it from anyone. It's already who you are. You are love. I'm looking at your faces right now, and I can see it. I love what I see. I love you. Just looking at you. All I see is beauty here. And when you can get yourself in that place to see that, you'll know what I'm talking about. And maybe you are in that place, so you do know what I'm talking about. Anyway, thank you so much.
Hey, it's Reverend Mike here. I just wanted to stop for a moment before you get on with your day, and thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. It means the world to us, and I just wanted to let you know if there's anything that we can do to make your experience even better, please do not hesitate to reach out by going to our website. I also wanted to offer you the opportunity for us to get together and sit down so I could get to know you a little bit better and answer any questions that you have. I can either do that by either getting together in person, have a cup of coffee, or we can meet online via Zoom. If you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me at michael@courage2thrive.com. And lastly, if you find these messages are helping you, we would be tremendously grateful if you'd consider donating to the center. The best and the easiest way to do that is simple. Just go to our website. Again, thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. Hope you're doing well. God bless, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye now.